Hey, what's up everyone? John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be doing an updated video comparing the language apps from Pimsleur and Rocket Languages. I did this very same side-by-side comparison a little over a year ago now, but since that video went live, both companies have upgraded their programs and added new features. Most notably, Pimsleur has added voice recognition software, and Rocket has done a total facelift of their interface, so that it was time to do a new updated review video. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. Recompare Pimsleur and Rocket head to head, and I'll tell you which one I think is better. And by the way, I should just mention here, since I'll just be focusing on the higher level points in this video, if you find you need more detail at any point, you can always check out our full detailed written comparison of these two apps over on our website. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight, Pimsleur vs. Rocket. It's the quickest way to find it. Alright, so before we dive straight in, I just want to provide some high level context about these two apps. Most times when I'm doing these comparison videos looking at programs side by side, it's fairly easy to differentiate them and give advantages and disadvantages for each. However, the thing with Rocket Languages and Pimsleur is that these two programs are insanely similar. Everything from the program structure to their learning methodology to the lessons themselves are nearly identical. But with that said, if you know where to look, there are some small and important differences that steer different learners in different directions. So I want to attack this video review in that way. I'll do a high-level overview of how the two apps work so you can get a feel for them and what to expect. Then we'll dive into the details and tease out some of these differentiators. Okay, so let's start with that high-level overview. From the top down, Pimsleur and Rocket are each built around audio lessons. Speaking and listening are the core of each company's learning methodology, and as such, they make audio lessons their key focus. So to start each module, each company will have you complete a 30-minute audio exercise where a moderator speaking in English walks you through a guided conversation step by step. You'll listen to a couple sentences in the language you're learning, the moderator will then briefly stop to explain the situation to you, and then he or she will have you participate by answering questions and repeating phrases. It is literally almost the same for both companies. From the 30-minute length, to the lesson moderator, to the underlying substance of the lessons, they're just very similar. Then, after the audio lesson, for both companies you review and reinforce what you just learned in the audio portion by working a variety of hands-on drills and exercises. For Pimsleur, these reinforcement drills include reading drills, digital flashcards, quizzes, pronunciation training, and speed games. And for Rocket, this includes listen and repeat type drills, flashcards, quizzes, and playing the part of one of the two speakers from the lesson's underlying conversation. In this way, both Pimsleur and Rocket kind of treat it like class followed by homework. You get your lesson, then you do your homework to drive it home. Plus, each company has a few extras around this main framework of audio lessons and reinforcement drills. Pimsleur has vocab bonus packs and pronunciation training with their new voice coach software tool, while Rocket has language and culture lessons, survival language kits, and a handful of community features like leaderboards and forums. But from a high level, that's how the two companies compare. Again, the key takeaway here is that these two programs are very similar. Each company's lessons take about an hour to complete from start to finish and place a very strong emphasis on listening and speaking within the context of audio lessons. And by the way, if you want to see examples of the lessons or drills from both companies, make sure to check out that full detailed written comparison I already mentioned. I'll have it linked down below in the description for you. I have screenshots and examples over there so you can get a better feel for how each program works. Alright, so that's how the two companies compare. Like I said, they are very similar. But there are some differences which make each program better for certain types of learners and situations. So let's run those down now. The first major difference between these two, and I kind of want to just get this out of the way, is price. Pimsleur and Rocket Languages do things pretty differently when it comes to purchasing their programs. So Pimsleur does the more typical subscription model where you pay as you go for their app on a monthly basis. And they actually have two options for that. First, there's Pimsleur Premium, which gets you access to one language. That costs $20 per month. And then there's Pimsleur All Access, which gets you access to all 51 of Pimsleur's languages for $21 per month, i.e. a buck more. So either way, around $20 per month for Pimsleur. Then with Rocket Languages, it's pretty different. They don't do the subscription model. Rocket only offers one-time purchase lifetime plans. You buy it and get access forever. These packages range from around $150 to $450 depending on how many levels you want to purchase. So it's a fairly different model, and because of this, it's kind of hard to compare cost here. It really just comes down to how many months you're going to use each program to determine where that break-even point is. But what I will say is that both companies are pretty aggressive with their discounting, especially Rocket Languages, and you can almost always find a sale or deal to knock some money off. With Rocket Languages specifically, you can almost always find their course for 50% off, if not more, so make sure to look for coupon codes. In fact, to make things easy, I'll drop any current discounts and deals that I can find for both companies down in the description for you, so make sure to check out that text below the video screen. You might be able to save yourself some cash. Okay, so after pricing, let me break down where these two apps differ company by company. And let me start with Rocket Languages. So the first differentiator here is transcripts, and it's pretty simple. When both companies' audio lessons are rolling, Pimsleur does not provide a transcript of what is being said, while Rocket does. Rocket rolls a transcript right under the audio lesson controls where you can see exactly what is being said and who is speaking. This might seem like a small, kind of meaningless difference, but it's not. For me personally, I actually lean on the transcripts pretty heavily. I like to see how words are spelled, and it helped me to follow along with the underlying conversation. For some people, it might not make a lick of difference, but if you're more of a visual person, it can definitely help. Then second, one thing that Rocket does, which Pimsleur doesn't do, is allow you to play the part of one of the two actors in the underlying conversation. So let me explain. Each audio lesson is built around a mock conversation. There's a simulated conversation that is the basis of the lesson, and the moderator uses it to make teaching points. Well, when the Pimsleur audio portion is done, it's just done. But with Rocket, you can take that underlying conversation that the lesson is built on and play the role of either the speakers to create a little back and forth dialogue. When played in real time, the conversation might only be 5 or 10 minutes long when you strip away all the notes and moderator teaching points, but I do think it's helpful to engage in this mock conversation in real time post-lesson, and it's a big advantage for Rocket Languages. Then lastly, the final difference in Rocket's favor that I want to call out lies in how the two companies do grammar. When it comes to grammar, Pimsleur does things a little differently than most apps. Rather than having more direct instruction, they kind of let you discover grammar intuitively through the audio lesson. The moderator will comment on grammar usage and discuss things like gender pronouns and verb conjugations, but it's not deep or direct grammar instruction. It's more on you to intuitively pick up how the language works. And that's fine, and it has its own merits, but I do really like how Rocket does things. They take a more direct approach by offering language and culture lessons in each unit. In these lessons, Rocket dives deep into a specific grammar principle, which they break down with short explanations, examples, and graphics. The point of these shorter lessons is to explain the structural differences between English and language you're learning. Plus, Rocket even tosses in some important cultural tidbits along the way in lessons, which is kinda cool. This is something that's missing from the Pimsleur program, and it's something I actually found to be really helpful. Anyway though, that's Rocket Languages and where I think they have the advantage. So now let's get to Pimsleur's wins. But before I get to that, I should just mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free language learning subscription to one lucky person. It's super simple to enter. Everyone out there is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description on how to get entered, but just know it takes like 10 seconds and hey, you never know. You could win a totally free subscription to Pimsleur or Rocket Languages. Alright, so the first advantage for Pimsleur in my opinion is their new speech recognition software called Voice Coach. Honestly, both companies' speech tech is really solid. Rocket actually uses Google's Web Speech API, but where they differ is in how they use it. Rocket lets their software operate in the background of every speech-based reinforcement drill, while Pimsleur's Voice Coach feature is more of a dedicated tool. And don't get me wrong, I like how Rocket does it, and I like getting a grade from 1 to 100 on all my drills, but the new Pimsleur tech is just very strong and offers more targeted pronunciation practice. Plus, they even have a special feature in the tool called Challenge Mode. When you turn this on, you'll be prompted in English to say a phrase in the language you're learning with no hint as to how to say it, so it makes you think critically about what to say, plus you still need to nail your pronunciation. It's very difficult, but also very, very helpful. Between the two, again, I like Rocket software a lot, but Pimsleur's new setup and speech tools are just kind of game-changing. Okay, so my next win and differentiator for Pimsleur has to do with those rolling transcripts that I just talked about. Because the Pimsleur lessons don't use a transcript, the beauty of the audio portion of their lessons is that you're not tied to your phone. You don't have to be staring at the screen watching the transcript roll by. To be clear, you technically don't have to watch it with Rocket either, but once you get hooked on it, it's kind of hard to quit after that point. At least it was for me. But because of the lack of transcripts with Pimsleur, you can hit the play button on the audio lessons and go about whatever you're doing. You can do a lesson while you're working out, doing the laundry, taking a walk, whatever. It just doesn't matter. I really like that you can be productive with your time while still doing lesson. It's a huge bonus. You can even do an audio lesson while you're driving because Pimsleur has a special driving mode. It's just a really nice feature. And lastly, the final advantage that I want to note for Pimsleur is interface. Between the two, even though Rocket has done a really nice job of updating their interface in the last year or so, Pimsleur's digital platform is about the best in the space in my opinion. It's super easy to navigate, it's really fast, and it's just really pretty. Everything is just modern and snappy and responsive on both the desktop and mobile app. So if that aspect of language learning is important to you, I do think Pimsleur has a significant advantage. But anyway, that about does it for the detail in this comparison. So let's get to my closing thoughts. Should you choose Rocket Languages or Pimsleur to learn a new language? Honestly, this is a really tough comparison for me, and it's hard to pick just one. But at the end of the day, if it was do or die and I could only just use one for the rest of my life, I would go with Rocket Languages. Overall, their learning system and teaching methodology just seem to gel a little bit better with me. I like reading the transcripts as the audio lessons play, and I like the ability to replay the underlying conversation from the audio lesson as one of the two actors. Plus, for me, I learn grammar better with more direct instruction like they offer, so that's why I would go with Rocket. But honestly, I really don't think you can go wrong with Pimsleur either. I've had a ton of success with their program and have no problem recommending it. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope this video has been helpful and you learned a little something about both Pimsleur and Rocket languages. If so, make sure to return the favor by subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and dropping me a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full detailed written comparison that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website, testprepinsight.com, or check out the other videos on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.